Monday, the Bears requested to interview Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy. It took the Cowboys a day to respond, but that request was denied, according to ESPN. McCarthy's contract with the Cowboys expires on January 14th, but until then, the Cowboys have exclusive negotiating rights with him. We're now joined by CBS Sports NFL analysts John Breach and Ryan Wilson. And fellas, I feel like you guys can relate to this. I have a niece and nephew. They're 4 and 3. And when my niece plays with a toy, my nephew takes it and he wants that toy. And he wasn't even quite thinking about it. I kind of feel like that's something that's kind of going on with the Cowboys right now. But Breach, to start us off, just give me your thoughts on Dallas blocking McCarthy. And does this maybe mean he now has a new contract brewing?
Well, this absolutely seems like a Jerry Jones move. Oh, you want to talk to my coach? Now I'm going to keep him. I wasn't going to keep him, but now if you want him, I want him. So it is interesting to see that the Cowboys denied the Bears the chance to interview Mike McCarthy, especially because McCarthy's contract expires on January 14th, and then he can just walk out and go talk to anyone he wants. So by denying it, it makes me feel like this situation is one of two things. One is McCarthy just isn't interested in the Bears job. And if that's the case, he's saying just deny it because we don't want to waste everyone's time. I'm not going to go up there for an interview for a job I don't want. Or the second part is the Cowboys are now leaning toward keeping Mike McCarthy, and they don't want him to go be enticed by another job that's open, a very attractive job at that, with Caleb Williams at quarterback and what the Bears are doing. So it is interesting that the Cowboys denied this. And look, I don't think that keeping Mike McCarthy is the worst thing in the world. Look, he's won 12 games in 3 of the past 4 seasons. You know how many coaches in Cowboys history have won at least 12 regular season games in 3 straight seasons? One, and that's Mike McCarthy. So I think maybe Jerry Jones is starting to think, let's keep him and definitely not let him go to Chicago.
I love the graphic right here because Mike McCarthy looks like someone's going to sell you a great set of tires with that face there. But the point that John makes is the exact right point. Maybe he looks like a tire salesman, but he is a solid football coach, and I think that gets lost in the mix. And the mix includes all the Jerry Jones antics that goes on with and around the Cowboys. The 12-5 back-to-back years, and even winning 7 games this year with everyone and their brother hurt. Dak Prescott was hurt for much of the season. He did it with Cooper Rush. You couldn't use your wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb, at the end of the season. He was banged up for much of the season when he was healthy. And when I first heard about the Bears being interested in Mike McCarthy, I was like, do we want another retread coach? And then I thought basically what Breach just laid out. That's exactly what Caleb Williams needs. Wherever Mike McCarthy goes, it isn't sexy and fireworks, but it gets the job done. They win football games. And I don't know if Jerry Jones realizes that now, or to Breach's point, Jerry Jones is just being stubborn, and instead of giving the guy the new deal now, he's waiting 7 days and he'll let him flap in the wind until then. But I think Breach is right. I think it makes all the sense in the world to bring Mike McCarthy back because he's gotten results. And at the end of the day, that's what Jerry Jones wants. The only thing that hasn't happened, Kiana, is playoff wins, and that's also something Jerry Jones wants.
Hey, I'm just going to tell you, one thing that's not going to go out of style and not going to go out of business is tire sales. And maybe that's exactly what Dallas still needs. I'm just saying, it works. It works. Well, Ryan, I want to swing this back to you because if McCarthy is out of the question now for the Bears, who do you think is maybe the next best option in Chicago?
Well, Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for Detroit Lions, has made it clear, according to reports, that he's looking to land at a place that has an established or a young, promising quarterback. And that, in part, is why the New York Jets probably won't be in the picture for him. I think Cliff Kingsbury also falls into that category. And both those names make a ton of sense with Caleb Williams, right? Ben Johnson, for all the things he's done in Detroit, getting the most out of Jared Goff. And that offense has been absolutely explosive. We saw that certainly in Week 18 with both Jared Goff and Jahmyr Gibbs through the run. And then Cliff Kingsbury has a history with Caleb Williams going back to the time together at USC. And prior to that, Cliff Kingsbury was some guy named Patrick Mahomes' coach at Texas Tech. And, you can knock Cliff Kingsbury for some of the head coaching decisions as they played out in Arizona, but it turns out Arizona is bad without him as well, at least over the second half of the season. So Cliff Kingsbury has proven himself this year with Jaden Daniels. He's been absolutely on point each and every week in developing that quarterback, and that feels like a layup to me as well. So either Ben Johnson or Cliff Kingsbury. Kingsbury has the head coaching experience. Ben Johnson had opportunities last year but chose to come back to Detroit. So that feels like a step in the right direction if you're looking for someone who's offensive-minded to bring that quarterback along in Caleb Williams.
Yeah, and I think Ryan hit the nail on the head here. I think if you're the Bears, you have to go with an offensive-minded coach. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in this spiral where you're always trying to find a new offensive coordinator to kind of get Caleb Williams to help him. So if you're a defensive coach and Caleb Williams, the Bears offense looks really good, then your offense coordinator is going to leave. And so that's what you're doing. You're hiring an offensive coordinator every offseason. So I do think that Ben Johnson and Cliff Kingsbury probably make the most sense. But if I'm Ben Johnson, I'm not sure if I want to leave Detroit and stay in the NFC North, knowing that I'm going against Dan Campbell and biting the kneecaps off philosophy 2 times a season. So I think that I would be a little hesitant to take the job, especially because there are several other jobs out there I think Ben Johnson would be great for. Jacksonville could be a great landing spot for Ben Johnson. But I do think Cliff Kingsbury would make a lot of sense. And as Ryan, you hit all the points there with what he did with Jaden Daniels in Washington. If you can make a rookie quarterback look that good, obviously, Jaden Daniels is talented, but a lot of that has to do with Cliff Kingsbury's ability to develop an offense that his quarterback could thrive in. That's exactly what he did in Washington. That's exactly what the Bears need done in Chicago. So I think Cliff Kingsbury would be a home run hire for the Bears.
Yeah, it makes sense considering the success so far that what we've seen out of Washington, but certainly wanting someone to help develop this young signal caller and this young offense that you have in Chicago. Ryan Breach, as always, fellas. Thanks for stopping by. And with the announcement of Antonio Pierce's firing on Tuesday, that now makes 6 head coaching vacancies in this cycle. The Raiders adding to the Jets, Saints, Bears, Patriots, and Jags. But Chicago looking like a highly intriguing job with a developing young signal caller.
You've got Chauncey's jersey behind you. Has the idea of potentially losing those guys that are free agents is that finally reality hitting you a little bit today?
Yeah, that's the most sad part. That's the most sad part because, we kind of said and I'm happy that we all got a piece of a sack yesterday because we was this is our last ride, 2021 D-line class, it was really been special building that brotherhood and our friendship with them. We got one more trip all together. We're going to Australia, so it's not the last of us yet. So it's going to be fun, but it is sad. It is sad, but I'm glad and I appreciate them. I hope they get everything they deserve. You should want that for your friends.
Micah, have you had a chance to appreciate or recognize your accomplishment? A dozen sacks in all 4 years.
Yeah, but you just can't sit on it too heavy. You got to keep going. I seen Myles Garrett the fastest to 100. I'm trying to chase him now. It's always kind of like the next with me. I'm always chasing for something. That's so far ahead, and you just gotta stay hungry in the process. You got all right. I choose this. I think at the end. Kobe said you can rest at the end. You can rest eventually, but just not right now. So I don't want to get complacent. I did half my career. I still owe. I still got a good amount of years left. So I'm trying to maximize that. Then I'll look back and I really did that.
When you look at the names that are on that list, though, all Hall of Famers, how does that kind of sit with you?
Oh man, always extremely blessed. Extremely blessed. This is God's favor. I thank God for allowing me to do it, and then He allowed me to go through adversity and still see if I was up to the challenge to complete the mission. So He tested me, and now I got a testimony on that of saying hey, I've been there before. It's hard to say, hey, you've been through an injury. I'm like, nah. Still it's you don't know what it's like. So I got tested into my faith, but I said I'm not going to waver. I'm gonna just come back and do what I do. And mind you, I did not plan on missing 4 games, but the extent of my injury is a little bit worse than I thought it was, and that bothered me. I didn't pitch all that, so missing those 4 games really sucked. But being able to do that, because I was doing 14 and 13, full 18. So I imagine if I had those games back, the pace. So I'm gonna just thank God for that favor He had on me. I definitely felt His spirit all yesterday. And He got me out the way. He got me out the way quick. So, I'm just thankful for real.
Jerry said you're gonna be sitting with him at the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah.
What kind of conversations do you want to have with Jerry about what this team needs, where things need to go?
It's all gonna start just the roots of obviously where do we see us going? How can we become, contenders? How do we bounce back from this year? what are the plans? Those are the type of things that I would ask. And then, I hope he asks me things too, But I would say Jerry's always been so great to me in every aspect. From sitting with him at the Super Bowl, I kind of already knew what the plan was, how I expected, and, what his mission was. Now it's a new year, so it's going to be a great, talk to the guy that kind of believed in me first to see what the mission is and how we're going to accomplish and really make us happy and make the fans happy.
You want to tell us what you might say what the team needs?
No. He's definitely made an impact, and it's definitely challenging because anytime you lose your starting quarterback, a Pro Bowl or All-Pro player, it's the most challenging part. But for what he's done, putting 20 points on the board, so we got to be better. You got to play better defense. That's where I take accountability at. So they gave us 20. That should be all they need to do. So I appreciate Mike and for everything he's done for me and the program. This was our last ride because he's always been a great man, a great father, a great testament of faith since he's been here. So I appreciate him.
What was the tone of the meeting today? Did he give you an indication of?
No, we got no indication. It was more just like going through the tutorials of our checklist about what we had to do before we exited. So, I'm in the win just like you guys.
All right, thank you, Mike.
Thank you.